All right. Good morning, YouTube. Hope everybody went out this morning and checked out your moon. It looks a little different. So that's a event for the day. Something we've all never seen before. I find it funny that the picture that was used, was it here on Drudge or CNBC? I think CNBC may have already corrected it. Maybe it was the Weather Channel. They used a picture. It said 1866 is the last blood moon, and they had Lincoln in it. I was like, I wonder if they know that Lincoln wasn't alive then either. It was humorous, maybe sick humor, but you know, what's an unreformed Confederate to do? So everybody had a good night. Hope everybody's joining us in a good mood. Got your coffee in hand. I'm going to hit everything but what everybody wants to talk about, and then we might get around to talking about what you want to talk about. But yeah, the moon is going, which again, it's on the Weather Channel more than anywhere else, which we'll see if it affects anything. Waiting for the big earthquakes to happen and all that good stuff. Still waiting. Still waiting. But looks pretty clear unless you're in the lake states, the Greater Lakes area, the Great Lakes area. Lots of snow all over. I don't know if it's all lake effect or if it looks like it's more than just lake effect. It's pretty significant. But like we talked about earlier in the week, it looked like the East Coast is going to get rain, snow mixed pretty much every day. It's going to be coming rolling through at a different time. So you're going to have continue to have an adventurous week out there east of St. Louis, it sounds like. Mr. M. Long's with us in the sidebar. How you doing? Good morning. Did you happen to see the moon turn red and the eclipse and all that other good stuff? Yeah, they call it the rare triple threat. It's pretty much the moon's dominating the news there. They're calling for some cold weather coming up end of the month, and hopefully we get a taste of it. It's mostly coming to you guys out east. Quit hogging all the good weather. But yeah. Forecast highs. Yeah, it's all about the Midwest and South, or south of Midwest. Everything south of Canada, I guess. Looks pretty chilly. So M. Long, bundle up. Although, well, 14 for Kentucky is pretty chilly. It's not like an everyday thing, but you guys aren't necessarily not used to it. So bringing that jet stream, some cold air, it looks like. Skipping over the Sierra, it looks like. We'll be on the leading edge of it, and we'll get nothing. Almost depressing. Those are highs. Pittsburgh at 20, St. Louis 31. That's not like terrible. That's nothing totally unusual. Just colder than it's been lately. It's been so warm. No shorts weather out east for you guys. Sorry. So the weather's rolling in. The stock market, they said, was ready to bounce. So after that sell-off, it bounces 200 points this morning. Probably because mostly the speech. Was there any other thing other than the speech that happened between now and last night? I can't think of anything. So everybody heard somebody say some words, which they knew he was going to say anyway. It's psychosomatic response or something like that, you call it. not psycho. Psycho might be the wrong, but no, psychic, or yeah, psychosomatic, something like that. But yeah, lots of madness. So everybody's all living it up. Hard to find anything under the radar. Yeah, it didn't change a thing, right? He didn't change his course or nothing. So why does it change anything else anybody else does? Interesting. I guess we could chalk it up to a motivational talk, maybe. Not a whole lot of impactful stories. Everything's pretty much been buried under the president's speech or otherwise. Commodities were down yesterday. They're down a little bit today. Silver and gold are up a little bit. That's kind of unusual for the Dow to be up and silver and gold to be up. Bonds still sitting at 2.7. Still pretty high. Hey, morning, Berrywood. How you doing out there? It looks like you're still getting rain in your neck of the woods. Well, in the Pacific coastal areas, I guess not where you are. It looked pretty clear on the map we looked at earlier. But I didn't really have time to dig up too much. I was out looking at the moon and trying to get a little bit of exercise in. But not anything. Nobody pushed a panic button in Hawaii. Nobody did anything off the wall. It's all just kumbaya, except for here in Texas. Feral cat controversy divides Texas community. I wonder if that's Wes S. or maybe Red October trying to corral the cats. But yeah, hey, Angel R, morning. How you doing? Thanks for joining us. 33 where you are, Barry? Yep. Nice and clear. Partly cloudy mostly. But really, anybody out there in the chat room got anything they've heard about or want to investigate? Because I have been, like I said, I slacked off a little bit this morning and really didn't find anything on an initial drive-by of stuff. California overdue for major earthquake. I think we all know that. We all have been wishing for it for decades. We thought it was overdue 20 years ago. Here's an interesting story down the page. Cape Town, South Africa. Low water. And this is one of the big things people have been warning about was the water situation worldwide. Obviously, water rights have been an issue out here. They are running out of city's water supply. Taps in homes and businesses will be turned off until rain comes. 4 million residents in the town of Cape Town, and they will line up for water rationing at 200 collection points. Yeah, this is the daggum scary stuff right here, folks. 4 million people, 200 collection points. Yeah, do the math on that. there ain't no form of lottery or organization that's going to make that go well. Public health and social order. Yeah, that's going to be bad. I don't know why they haven't drilled a new well before this. So I guess it's only Cape Town. I guess the rest of South Africa is unscathed. So it's not like a drought, but wherever the city gets its water, it looks like has gone dry and they haven't rectified the situation. The city is known for its strong environmental policies, including its careful management of water in an increasingly dry corner of the world. Cape Town is called Cape Town because it's on the Cape, on the ocean. You got water right there. I know we have desalination potential worldwide, right? They haven't taken that option yet. After 3 years of drought, it's considered the worst in over a century. South African officials say Cape Town is now at serious risk of becoming one of the few major cities in the world to lose piped water to homes and most businesses. So their water table is dropping significantly. I wonder what the tectonic plate effect around their area is. If they're having a shift as well of some sort that people aren't, it's going to be subtle over hundreds of years, but if that's had an effect on changing their water table, huh? This is the stuff you really don't want to happen. Running out of water for 4 million people is not going to go well for anybody. I definitely recommend this. This is in the New York Times. So they're still not to day zero where they have to line up for water, but I guess the city kind of has a plan. But starting in February, residents will have harsher fines if they exceed their daily limit, which will go down to 50 liters, 13.2 gallons a day per person from 87 liters now. So currently they're getting 87 liters, which is going to be roughly close to 20 gallons a day per person. That's not like, dang. That's a pretty significant amount of water. That's not, I mean, 5 gallons of, if you factor in a lot, like 5 gallons of water to shower per person, that's 25. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. I'm seeing if you get a gallon per water to wash and then go from there per day per person, though. Goodness. That's a fairly good amount of money. I wouldn't say they're totally rationing in my mind, but dang, don't hook up to city water if you don't have to. I would imagine the outlying areas around there are probably drying up. Oh, here's a this is where they get their water from. Oh, it's in a dam. It's not a well. I see. It's like Lake Mead. Looks a lot like Lake Mead. This is what LA could be in store for. That they've forced water rationing on everybody else except for themselves. Hey Tony, what's up, man? So Tactical Tony's been banned from the live stream for 3 months because he titled his video the wrong thing. Amateur. How long you been on YouTube? You can't verbatim quote the thing you're going to be talking about and showing on the screen. They double tapped you. Actually, probably double to the chest, one of the heads you. Oh man. So thanks for the thumbs up there, Tony. The recommendation. But yeah, Tony, if you see this article about Cape Town, South Africa, that's what's coming to LA and Vegas if y'all don't watch out. Dams are down to about 26% of capacity. Dried out over the last century and gotten warmer, they say. Oh, back as far as 2007, somebody actually recommended desalinization, but I guess they didn't think that was that serious. They didn't take that seriously. It's about being sustainable, not just reactionary. People would rather react than plan ahead. Mayor says new water supplies have been part of the city's plans, but it was not envisaged that it would be required so soon. Failure to plan. What does the rumpled one say? Rumpled one's here, another channel here on YouTube. Prepare, fail to prepare, plan the day or fail to prepare to fail, something like that. Failure to plan on your part is not a failure on my part. That's a good saying. And they go into other cities elsewhere face serious shortages. Millions of Brazilians have endured rationing and prolonged droughts. Brasilia. So this is stuff LA should have been going through years ago, but they keep stealing water from everybody else at pennies on the gallon. All right, I'll let you guys investigate that yourself, but that's definitely a warning to everybody. One, if you're in a city, get out. I think the tap's always going to be there. You're going to have to plan for your own water source. I'm sure those 4 million people in Cape Town might agree. So we're about halfway through out in the chat room. Angel R, Tactical Tony, Barry Wood, Mr. M. Long. I don't know why I always call you Mr. It just seems like the right thing to do. But hope everybody has had a good morning watching the blood moon apocalypse, or I'm sorry, blood moon eclipse. It was just going back to crescent when I came in. And I don't see much in the way of the comments out there. Barry Wood, drilling a well takes an act of God and tons of money these days. Yeah, in Washington. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much everywhere. I mean, it's like $20,000 to drill a well around here, once you get everything included. You see those videos that engineer, I can't remember his full YouTube name, but Southern Pepper One's buddy that does all the well drilling and engineering stuff. He does hand drill wells and stuff for demonstrations. It's like, yeah, that doesn't go over too well here. I could go down. I mean, I might be able to do something like that on the lowest part of my property because it's not too far above the water table. I think the ground is a little bit harder out here. And Angel R, control the water and you control the people. And absolutely, that's the critical thing of that's the one number one right there. There's lots of ways to manipulate people, but to control them, take away their water. I mean, food's one way. You can turn people the way you want to go them, but people are a little more self-sufficient when it comes to making and growing and raising food. People have kind of figured that out, and they can adapt to that fairly reasonably. Getting your own water, that's a hard task. If you ain't got it already set up, it takes some time. Missouri's building a 700 mile per hour Hyperloop. Was Kansas City or between the two? Private-public partnership. It's gonna be like your Hyperloop there, Tony. Yeah, it'll be. You have any read this a little bit. So, partnership to build a Hyperloop. They talk about relieving congested I-70, but it doesn't say if it's going to run. It doesn't say if it's going to run from Kansas City to St. Louis. Oh, there you go. Pretty much follows I-70. Interesting. They need a Hyperloop through Kansas. I tell you what, if you saw my trip this last fall, Kansas is still Kansas. Kansas is flat, flat, and flat. If you need a Hyperloop, put it in Kansas. Good morning, Practical Outdoorist. Thanks for joining us. We're covering everything except for the speech last night. So if you got anything on your end you'd like to bring up, shoot it out there. We'll look it up, bring it up, discuss it, whatever. But the Hyperloop things are becoming pretty popular proposals. There's one down in Vegas they're working on a project. Meanwhile, we're talking about Hyperloops, and California is spending billions of dollars to try to build a train track from LA to San Francisco. Not wasting any money there at all. That looks like the one by Vegas. Yeah, that looks like the test outside down there at your area, Tony. Yeah, it says it's a picture from December when they tested their pods at speeds of 240 miles per hour. And pods on long runs could reach up to 700 miles per hour. That'd be a pretty quick trip. So that's another example of their Hyperloop in the Missouri area. I have to call my buddy up and see if he's going to be riding. Actually, I think he lives on the Illinois side, but works in St. Louis. He gets shafted. So there's an interesting story for you. USA Today linked on the Drudge, looking to Hyperloop technology. Everybody kind of gives Elon Musk a lot of hard time, a lot for some of his ingenuity or ideas, but I mean, he's putting it out there. It's not like he's not risking a little bit. I guess there's some government tax breaks and stuff involved, but he's throwing stuff out there for sure. Oh, we'll get around to, since we're on a short day here, a little local, but something people have been following in particular. But they came out yesterday with the release of some papers to the ending, and they had ID'd a second person of interest the day after the Las Vegas Mandalay Bay October 1 Route 91 shooting, whatever title you want to give it. They've changed it so many times, I can't keep track. But they said they ID'd a person, and he's a person of interest, but he's never released until today. And there's this guy named Haig is suspected to be the guy that sold ammunition to Paddock. But there's been some other looky-loos around. His LinkedIn account says he worked as a senior engineer for Honeywell Aerospace. Now, and he worked for a company that called Specialized Military Ammunition. There's also people that said that his post said he had a top secret clearance in addition to that, which means he's a defense contractor working on stuff that we can't talk about. So, yeah, the reason I didn't mention his name is because he had a clearance and he's doing stuff they don't want everybody to know about. So, Tony, if you find anything else about that, you need to do a video on it. But my supposition that Paddock was running guns and got busted by one side is, I'm still sticking to that, seeing how he's got this contact. There's such things as coincidences, right? But M. Long out there, states trying to end solar panel subsidies in Kentucky, cutting kilowatt credits, votes on it today. Is that mandatory connection to the grid type stuff? If you're connected to the grid, you get a subsidy right now. They're going to cut that. Is that the way that works, M. Long? But you're still feeding the grid, so they don't care. Is that a subsidy to build or a subsidy that you got monthly anyway? Yeah, I remember us talking about you had manufacturers out there in your area for solar panels. And you would think that with this recent tariff issue on solar panels, that Kentucky would just continue to let the good times roll. If they're probably going to have some increased business over what they do now. But some people just can't let a sleeping dog lie. They got to stir the pot. So we're continuing to track the FBI cover-up in the Vegas shooting. We don't know what happened. We just know it isn't what the official story is. Because as we've talked about in depth many times, there's no way that one guy, old man, who's never been a firearms enthusiast or marksman of any sort, could have done that. We'll just leave it at that. So overall, it's a good day. We have a blood moon, full moon, eclipse, no major earthquakes as of now. Everybody gets all warm and fuzzy over the president's speech. Stock market goes up. Weather's clear unless you're in the Great Lakes area. Everybody's singing Kumbaya and have some hot cocoa. We'll have a good day, right? They're cutting the subsidy in half, M. Long, and if you sell your house, the new owner won't get anything. They won't get any subsidy, you're saying. Because you'll still have the solar to benefit from, right? I mean, there is still the story of the memo that's out there floating around. So the House voted yesterday to release the House memo on the FBI shenanigans wrapped around the election. It's got a lot of people up in arms, concerned, etc. Like the FBI, some of these angels, they expected to do the right thing or something. But they're talking about releasing that this week. I would be shocked if they waited till midnight Friday, like try to bury it. You'd think they would kind of bring it front and center here Friday morning or before, so there's more eyes on it. But still not to be determined. So the House has said they're going to release the House Intel Committee, I believe so it is. But that'll be something to follow, because that continues to show a lot of misdeeds by the FBI, as we've all been chronicling over the decades now. It's like J. Edgar Hoover wasn't like an angel. Yeah, Angel, are we not bringing up that? Is that all you hear in your news locally? The Super Bowl's not even in Miami, Angel. Why would they be talking about it down there? That's funny. That's because all those Yankees you got that live down there that are Patriots fans. That's why they're talking about it. Now it all makes sense. Yes, indeed. Hey, everybody, thanks for coming out. We managed to avoid the only thing that's on the top headline here of Drudge for the most part of the chat. But there's definitely other stuff going on. Always remember that. Like they said in one of the other articles, headlines, there was nothing new released in the State of the Union. It was pretty much party line or Trump's line, not party line necessarily, but it was Trump's line he's stuck to the whole time. There was nothing diverging from that. So nothing's changed really. Nothing's going to change. It's going to continue on that track and move forward. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But there's other stuff we need to keep our eye on, be aware of. That water story we covered at the end or in the beginning is definitely concerning. It's an example of what can happen in many places, not just in South Africa. LA, I'm looking at you primarily. But thanks for coming out, M. Long, 5151, Barry Wood, Angel R. Tactical Tony 702 was in the house for a minute at least. At Practical Outdoors, join us in the side chat. Final comment, bread and circuses. All right, everybody, have a good day. Go out, live free.